If you're hitting your lower lofted sterling irons a little bit too low and you need a little bit more height, or you're just not holding greens from them coming in too low, I've got a couple things that can hopefully help you with that to get that height with the lower lofted clubs, so that you can get it up in the air a little bit more and can hold those greens. So the first thing is a technical thing. Now, typically in the golf instruction world, we're often told to come into the ball with a lot of or some amount of shaft lean, and what that does effectively is it let me grab this little tool here so we can see the loft. So when you come in, if you have the club straight, if the shaft straight up and down, then this is what the loft of this particular club is going to look like. But as soon as you put as you move the shaft forward, it de-lofts the club here. So that's going to help hit the ball a little farther, and it's going to have less spin on it as well when you're coming through like that. Now that's okay for tour players in particular, because they have really high club head speeds, and they often need to bring the ball down. They have an issue, the opposite issue that we're talking about here, of hitting it too high. So when you see pro analysis, whatever the word is there, for pros, typically you'll see that with shaft lean. And the thinking is like, oh, the good players are doing that, then everyone should be doing that. But when you get down to amateurs or people with lower club head speeds, then that's fine with, say, the higher lofted clubs, your wedges, a 9, maybe an 8, because there's still enough loft to that club that even if you de-loft it a little bit, it may make those irons go farther, but there's still enough height that you can get away with that. But then when you get to the lower lofted clubs, say a 5 iron or a 4 iron or something like that, and you're leaning it forward, then the trajectory comes down too much for a slower club head speed like that. So I think what I would say here from a technical standpoint is to watch the amount of shaft lean that you have. If you're a slower club head speed player, I don't even mind having a player come through a little bit more vertically like this, or just slightly forward, but not excessively forward. That's going to help with just height in general on all shots. Some instructors might kind of talk about that being flipping or scooping or some kind of taboo term like that. But from a functional standpoint, from a lower club head speed, if you're going to be playing irons, and your club head speed isn't that fast, then you probably don't want to have that too much shaft lean. Either that, I mean, if you do want to have the shaft lean, then you'll probably need to switch to a different type of club head. Hybrids help get the ball up a little bit higher than irons, and then fairway woods get them up even higher. And then as you move into driver, that gets up even higher. The club heads get bigger, and you can move the center of gravity back and lower. So that's an alternative. If you want to stay using your irons, though, just watch the amount of shaft lean that you have, because it can work, again, for the higher lofted clubs, but not so much for the lower lofted clubs. That's the first thing I would say. And then the second thing, on a related note, I was talking about club head speed being a factor here. Club head speed is a factor here. Tour players have the speed to get lower lofted clubs and have shaft lean and still get those lower lofted clubs up in the air. But what if you don't have that speed? So the thing to do there is to address the speed issue. And you can do that. I'll put my club down here. Now you can do that with some swing speed training. So go over to Swingman Golf, and we've got some swing speed training programs over there. That's one of the other websites, my websites, I guess. So you can do some swing speed training programs. We've got those outlined there. But just at a basic level, if you want something to help you out without buying anything, I guess, there's two main components to increasing your club head speed. The first is just practicing swinging fast. If you want to get better at anything, whatever skill it is, it makes logical sense that you just practice at it and work on it. And the same actually applies to club head speed. So if you want to increase your club head speed, then just take a little time to practice it. It doesn't have to be that much. It helps to get a sports sensor swing speed radar. Those cost about $120. That way you can get some feedback as how fast you're swinging. We have those available on the Swingman Golf website. And then you don't even have to do this at the driving range. Generally, I recommend hitting balls while you're doing this so you get used to the feeling and get comfortable swinging faster with your driver, with hitting balls. But the important thing is just practice swinging fast. So those can be with some training aids, a speed whoosh, a swing fan, super speed clubs, anything that you can swing that you can measure the speed of, or just practice swinging fast. And do maybe 30 reps twice a week. And don't do the reps all in a marathon right in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put some time between it. Mimic it like how you're going to be doing it on the golf swing, or on the golf course. On the golf course, you make one swing, you're waiting a couple minutes before you hit again, you make another swing. So you don't have to put that much gap between it, but maybe just like you're casually hitting balls at the range. Make a swing, check your finish, make sure you're getting good balance, give it a good rip, and then maybe check your speed, wait a second, set up, and then do it again. And you can do maybe a set of 5 of those, and then just do 6 sets of those. So that's the first part, is practicing swinging fast. And the second part is increasing the strength of your golf swing muscles. As you move from amateur club head speed to professional club head speed to long drive club head speed, there's a strength correlation there. And long drive guys tend to be really, really strong. Not necessarily big, but really strong. So strength is a factor in power. And the most important muscles you want to improve the strength of are the ones you're using in the downswing, because everyone starts at 0 up at the top of the backswing and then gets down to whatever they are at impact. So what you can do is get some resistance bands, and we have those over at Swingman Golf as well. I like those because they have the carabiner clips, so you can add on more resistance if you want, or take off more resistance. They're numbered so you can track your progress. They're lightweight, they don't take up much space. And these particular ones have like a rope inside. And so you can stretch it, and at some point it's not going to stretch anymore. So it's nice from a safety standpoint. The bands aren't going to snap in that regard. So get some of those bands, and you can do some downswing band isometrics. So you want to hold as much resistance as you can at the top of the backswing for 8 to 10 seconds, and then anchor the weight up here and pull it down halfway, and then anchor it lower and pull to impact and hold that for 8 to 10 seconds. So you do 2 hands at the top, halfway down, and at impact. And then you do right hand only, left hand only, right hand only, left hand only, right hand only, left hand only. And you'll find that that works different parts of your body. With the trail side, you might feel it more in the chest here. With the leading side, you might feel it a little bit more in your back and your shoulder here. And then maybe the 2-hand ones, you'll feel a little bit more in your core. So add a set of those in with the practicing swinging fast. And the great thing about that kind of thing, is you don't need to have some fancy gym or fancy, $3,000 equipment or whatever, or $20,000 equipment. It's something that doesn't cost a lot. You can do it at home or in your office or wherever. And that will, doing those a couple times a week, moving up the resistance when you can, using the radar to push yourself to try and go faster. So the idea here is you have a max speed and a playing speed. So over the course of the month, you want to raise your max speed so that your playing speed goes up proportionally. It'll feel like you're swinging the same amount relative to your max, but because you've raised your max, you've raised your playing speed as well. So those are the two things that I would offer you from the swing speed training standpoint to help address the hitting your lower lofted irons too low. So that's, I think, all I want to say about that for right now for this particular video. Again, from a technical standpoint, watch the amount of shaft lean that you have. It can help with the higher lofted clubs, but it can hurt the lower lofted clubs. So you may want to arrive at impact a little bit closer to shaft vertical, even though that's a little bit taboo. It'll help raise your shot height, which is what you want to do. And then also work on your club head speed, because the more club head speed you have, the higher the shots are going to go. So those two things should really be able to help you out a lot if you're hitting your irons, your lower lofted irons, with your Sterling irons too low.